Hey everybody, and welcome along to this week's edition of the Irish Golfer Podcast. Peter Finnan here, and joined by Ronan McNamara. How are you keeping?
How are you getting on? Good. I'm good. Sunburned,
recovered
but
yet?
I'm good.
Are you recovered from Croker yet? It was a bad weekend.
No.
We won't talk too much about football.
Every time I walk out of my house and I turn right, I can just see the top of Croke Park, and it starts all over again. The trauma just hits.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good performance, but listen, justice was done. They owed it to you. You have to take this one on the chin.
I don't know where that narrative started. It was a perfectly good goal all those years ago. Now it means nothing.
I see it as well. I had to laugh at it. It's the last style of rest of football, but did you see one of the Loud lads going down to that goal with the trophy and throwing it into the goal and stuff like that? There's photographs around. Really good. Proper piss take.
Yeah, sums them up, doesn't it? Classless. Classless.
No, really good. No, there's plenty to get stuck into this week. It's a major week. We're going to have a re-look back at our own major from Ireland from last weekend, the Flogas Irish Amateur. And catch up with Stuart Grehan on this, who joined you on a call earlier on today as well. So before we get started on that, special shout out to Flogas.ie, who are our podcast sponsors. As you know, by their current marketing campaign, they don't just do gas, they do electricity, solar. They're really looking to grow in the electrical side. If you listen to our chat with John Rooney last week, on their market share, what they're looking to do, they offer as good a rate as anybody out there. So if you're looking at your energy across all of this year, across gas, electric, solar, be it business or personal plans, Flogas definitely have something there for you. And as John mentioned on last week's podcast, that they're also giving away Emerald Park tickets for new clients who sign up and stuff like that as well. So some really good incentives, really good prices. So visit flogas.ie. They support golf up and down the country, from your elite amateurs like Stuart Grehan, who claimed the Flogas Irish Amateur last week, right down to your Golf Ireland events. So flogas.ie.
Right. Great segue.
You were down there most days of the tournament. You missed the final group and the playoff because you went to Croke Park. But what were your overall thoughts on the Irish Am this year?
I think Seapoint held up well, actually, because it looked like it was going to be a course where they might shoot 20 under, especially after the first day. But it's fair to say that definitely held up, especially on the Friday and Saturday. And then I think it's just a golf course that lends itself to great drama, as we saw coming down the last few holes on the Sunday, like with Stewie finishing with 2 birdies in his last 3 holes. Could have eagled the 18th, didn't. And then Louis as well just wasn't able to birdie the last. So and then the playoff as well was, really, really dramatic, going to 3 holes. And I think Stewie birdied it every time and just managed to shake him off at the end. Really, Seapoint's a really fun links test, and I think it was a refreshing experience for the players, given like what they had to go through in the West and what they kind of have to face for most of the year in Irish Championships. I know the weather's been really good to us recently, but it was nice. A lot of the players were happy to be able to, open up the shoulders and be more aggressive with shots, be more aggressive on the greens, and get used to scoring low. And I think it was reflected in the leaderboard. If you look at, the top 2 Irish players were Stewie, who obviously won, and then Matt McLean, who was third. So I think it does show you that the cream of the crop comes to the top in 72 holes of stroke play.
Yeah. Matt McLean will go away disappointed from this, I think. It's kind of, I don't know, will he feel like it's one he let get away, but he kind of stamped his authority on it first day, let things slide a little bit. I think it was the third round that just things just fell away in him.
Yeah, third round 76 with a double bogey, 2 bogeys, and it was a birdieless round, which you definitely don't see very often from Matt. I think Seapoint just came back to bite him. Like Stewie,
the wind was a massive factor, wasn't it?
The wind got up on Saturday, yeah. And then speaking to Stewie, actually, Stewie said he got round in 72 with his D game, and he just said, like, there's no day in golf is going to be the same. You're going to have a scrappy day over 4 rounds, and he managed to keep it together, whereas Matt let the course kind of come back and bite him. And Matt was a bit sort of at odds with himself. A lot of shots he, was kind of animated over bounces he was getting, and a couple of breaks that he weren't quite going his way. And I think that was probably the difference between the two players, where Stewie just managed to hold it together and things just got away from Matt a little bit and he just left himself with too much to do. But yeah, definitely a missed opportunity for him, because it definitely was there, especially after the course record 64 on Thursday.
Yeah. Well, I suppose let's get stuck in. Let's play the chat that you had with Stewie earlier on today, and then sure we'll come back straight after that.
Stuart Grehan. Stuart, you've had a couple of days to let it all sink in, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been a quick few days, to be honest, with work and everything. But yeah, still over the moon. Yeah, it's kind of, as you say, kind of sank in the last kind of day or two, and yeah, it feels great. Delighted, over the moon. The messages have been flooding in, so I just want to thank everyone for kind of sending out the messages. So, yeah, just thrilled there.
And how did it feel when the putt finally went in on that third playoff hole to finally shake off the challenge of Louis? Because you'd come from 3 shots behind. I mean, you really did force the issue throughout the day. And how did it feel to not let that 66, I suppose, go to waste?
Yeah, it was. I suppose the immediate feeling was definitely relief, more so than anything. As you say, like I played well all day. I think for the 21 holes I played, I was 9 under without any drop shots. So, but yeah, I didn't know who Louis was. Never met him before. He's quite young, but lovely swing, lovely flight. I could see he's a very good player and will continue to be a very good player. So I was just relieved to get the other side of him, and then hopefully see him again in a few more events this year.
Absolutely, yeah. So 3 behind going into the final day. What was going through your mind at that stage? Because, as you said, you didn't really meet Louis before. You weren't in the final group, so you had to really put a charge on.
Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed the night before I didn't get into the final group. I said to my caddy Connor, "Look, 65 tomorrow, and I think we'll have a chance," which would have got me to 16. But look, we got to 6. We got to 15. And look, yeah, I wasn't far off, I suppose, in terms of calling it. But yeah, look, I just took each shot as I came that day. I had a good warm up that morning, and as I kind of said before, on the Saturday, I had a pretty poor day. Felt like it was like kind of CD game sort of, and like you're never going to get 2 days in a row like that. I just wasn't feeling very good at anything. So I had a good warm up that morning. Got to the practice range then and did my drills, and I was just mentally in a really good spot. And the swing felt a little bit better, so just kind of went out there and let it happen.
Yeah, the third round, as you said, it was one of the scrappy rounds. You say you're always going to encounter over 72 holes. I mean, like, how hard did you fight just for that 72? And it proved to be crucial as well. Like, it just kept you in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I had a few. Yeah, every time I made a birdie, I think I dropped a shot the next time, or something like that in on the third round. So, and I was just very stressed. Yeah, I was caring too much, probably just putting so much effort in, and that was actually affecting my performance. So, I probably toned that down a little bit on Sunday as well, and just said, "Look, I'm playing good golf. Um, just go out and let it happen. You're playing nice." So yeah, I just kind of stuck to that all day, and look, hopefully, and the patience with that kind of got me through the day. And birdie in 16 was a huge one, to be honest with you. After I had a few close misses, or few chances on 11 and 12 that I missed from inside like 6, 7 feet. So getting that one in 16 was a big one, because kind of 13, 14, 15 were playing really tricky. So yeah, the birdie 16 kind of got the momentum going.
Yeah, and then you said one of the best up and downs you made on 17 as well. Really kept the score together. Then going into the final day, I mean, there was nothing handed to you at all. And I suppose that great start of 3 birdies in the first 6 holes really set the tone for the day.
It did, yeah. I didn't know what the guys were doing behind. I didn't want to know. I just knew if I went out and played, around the 66 or 65, that I was going to be close. And as I got towards the end of the round, the crowd kind of followed me a little bit more, and yeah, the cheers were going up. So I had a decent idea where I stood, and I asked my caddy Connor on 18, 18 fairway where we stood. So I knew what I had to do, and didn't eagle the hole, but birdied it, and look at it into that playoff.
Yeah, and like it was dramatic stuff as well in the playoff. I mean, as if the week wasn't long enough, you have to go to 3 extra holes, and again in front of that crowd. Again, it could have gone the other way, but to get over the line and to win your first championship since coming back to amateur golf, did you expect to get success this early, or was it always the goal to hit the ground running as soon as possible?
It was probably hit the ground running as soon as possible. Like, I felt my game, even as a professional, I've won a few times as a pro, and even last year I felt like I had some nice finishes. Could have been a little bit better, but I felt like my game was still progressing that way, and I still still always have that drive and that hunger. So yeah, coming back in, obviously it's not as intense as the professional game, and I suppose just the kind of experiences I've had as a pro, I think these have all kind of helped me when I did come back to kind of hit the ground running, as you say. And I feel my game now is so much better than when I was an amateur a few years ago. So there's lots of things kind of adding up. But look, was I expecting this? Probably not. Did I want to do it? Absolutely. But look, now that we have done it, it'd be nice to kind of kick on and try and add a couple more.
Yeah, and there were a couple of close shaves, of course, at the West, and then at the Munster Stroke Play. Like, what were maybe the fine margins or little bits that you did better to get over the line last week compared to the first two?
Yeah, that's a good question. That, I suppose, I think Collie in the West just bet me. To be honest, he played really good golf that day. He probably held 2 crucial putts when he needed to, and probably that was the difference then. And then Munster Stroke Play, yeah, I suppose from a mental standpoint, I probably got in my way the last day. Just probably expected too much out of myself and made a few bad swings. But I think the disappointment from Munster and learning from that actually really helped me this week. Just to go out, play your own game, maybe not care as much. I really wanted to win this one so badly, and that was probably going to get in the way. So I just kind of tapered down a little bit. And I kind of knew the golf course as well, which obviously helps too. So, but that could add a little bit of pressure as well. But yeah, I think I handled it pretty well this week.
Yeah, I could definitely see how much you wanted it, especially following you up the last few holes on Saturday, like because things, they weren't going your way, and you're trying to sort of keep a lid on it as well and not let the emotions get the better of you. So from that point of view, like, your mental game is pretty strong.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've always been pretty good, and I started working with Anne-Marie Kennedy again, so she's kind of come on board recently. We've had a little bit, a couple of sessions, so yeah, like I am pretty good, but I just needed that couple of extra percent here and there just to kind of really kind of hone in on that and breathing and stuff. So yeah, she's been a nice help so far.
Good. And obviously, seriously emotional win. First win as a family man, I suppose, as well. And you're living now only a stone's throw away from Seapoint over in Termonfeckin. So it was nearly the perfect place to get the first win back as an amateur again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was just so many things adding up. Obviously, my wife's from there. She grew up playing there. Her father, or my mother and father-in-law are both members there, and I walk my dog there every day pretty much as well. So there was lots of things adding up. I'm not a member there, but I might as well be. With all the members and stuff, knowing them. So yeah, it was just like a perfect um kind of scenario, I guess. But yeah, there were so many things, but yeah, look, I was just so happy. Obviously, it'd be the biggest event in Ireland as well. That obviously helped too as well. So yeah, it's I'm still kind of coming to terms with it, I guess. But yeah, I'm just absolutely thrilled still.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that once you held the final putt, I think Kai became the star of the show, really. I think, seeing the pictures of him with the trophy, he was kind of like, Dad, I could get used to this.
Yeah, he's like an MVP there, like Rafa Nadal, yeah, eating the trophy. But yeah. Look, I mean, that's the plan. I mean, this week is great. I've been really enjoying it. But like, I have an event in 2 weeks' time again, and then hopefully get into the bigger events that are coming up. So I have a nice schedule kind of lined out. So and I still feel like I can improve my game, which is nice as well. So I'll really, I'll enjoy the last few days and I'll enjoy the coming days. But then, look, from Thursday onwards, I'm gonna knuckle down again and get back practicing and doing everything I can.
Yeah, but like even the photographs, like with the family, they're memories to last a lifetime, as they say as well. And I'm sure you look back on them in 5-6 years time and think, yeah, no, that was a really special moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's some of the photos are incredible, and obviously Kai is not going to remember them now. But look, hopefully in a couple of years' time, when maybe he starts picking up a golf club, he can look back and see that I wasn't too bad at the game at times.
And he helped you warm up as well, given the videos I saw on Instagram the other
Yeah,
day.
that's right. Yeah, he was acting like a weight nearly with me, but yeah, it was a pretty cool video.
Absolutely. And looking ahead, as you touched on there, some of the bigger international tournaments, is that the next step to sort of put your name back out there around GB&I and around the continent as well, and maybe go over and play a US Mid-Am in tournaments like that?
Yeah, that's it exactly. I'm playing the European Mid-Am after the East in what, I think 3 weeks' time. So yeah, the winner of that gets into the US Mid-Am. So I think that's definitely a goal. Obviously it'd be stiff competition there, but look, I feel like my game's as good as anyone's at the minute. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm not too sure if I'll get into, say, the European Amateur or British Amateur, any of those massive competitions, but yeah, hopefully this opens a few doors, and maybe in the East in a few weeks, if I get more world ranking points, that might open a few doors to get into bigger events. So, still a lot up in the air, but certainly do want to start playing the bigger events and kind of pushing on to the more back into the international scene and GB&I and stuff.
Yeah, like what would it mean to put on an Irish jersey again? I'm sure some of the Golf Ireland selectors were watching with a keen eye over the weekend as well.
Yeah, it'd be sick. Yeah, it'd be really cool. That's what I wanted to do. That was a goal this year. I wanted to kind of make the 6-man team. So, hopefully I'm in a decent position there to kind of push on and make that team. Obviously, we have Eisenhower on as well. So the last time we played that, we finished third in the world. So it'd be kind of cool to come full circle and play that again. But look, I still have to play really good golf for the remainder of the year, and that's what I'm going to try and do.
Yeah, is the Walker Cup this year on your mind? I'm sure the one in Lahinch next year is, but over in Cyprus, has that come onto the radar now, given the good start to the season?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think last week's probably opened the door a little bit for sure. Obviously there's an international field this week, and obviously getting a win is big. And as you say, I've had a decent start, but just because of my world ranking, not getting into maybe the bigger events, that might hamper things. But look, you never know. Golf's a weird game. In a couple of weeks' time, things could change pretty quickly. So, um, all I can do is just go out and try and do my best, shoot the lowest scores, and if that's good enough to get me picked on that team, so be it. If not, then we'll aim for next year.
Yeah, is there a sense of, sort of unfinished business with the Walker Cup, given like, an injury sort of stopped you from making the team before you turned pro? Is that maybe an itch that you want to scratch over the next couple of years?
Yeah. There's no point backing down from that question. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's something I definitely want to do. I've represented Europe in the Palmer Cup, obviously Ireland, and GB&I and St Andrews Trophy just the year the Walker Cup wasn't on. So yeah, it's definitely a thing I want to do. There's no point in shying away from it. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, maybe see yourself and Matt McLean repping GB&I over the next couple of years, because he was saying, playing St Andrews in the Walker Cup, playing Cypress Point, playing an away Walker Cup, and then playing hopefully at home in Lahinch. That would be a nice little hat trick to maybe just bow out on. He was saying, but like Lahinch is a fantastic venue. Like I'm sure you saw the videos of the Palmer Cup last year, which you obviously played in a few years ago. It's just like the perfect setting almost to have such an international event.
It is, yeah, and I've won the South there as well, so I'm very familiar with the course, and I love the golf course. So, yeah, but actually, the chairman in DFP is a member there as well, and obviously me working there is up there now as well. So there's lots of kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Coincidences maybe, and look, that's what I'm going to try and do. I'll give him my best.
Absolutely. And just from an Irish championship point of view, like you've got the East coming up, as you said, like that's just another I'm sure a special week for you being actually a member now in Baltray, and still pretty much being from the area too. I suppose you're an adopted Loud man these days, as you said over the weekend, and it seems like the perfect place. Just pick up the sticks and get out again after winning last week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really looking forward to that event as well. It's over the June Bank holiday. The members there, they support golf so much. They're brilliant, in fairness. Even all the support last week. But yeah, especially when the East is there, 4 rounds of stroke play again. I feel like it's the perfect format for me. Um, and yeah, so it's over the June Bank holiday. The course will be amazing. So yeah, as you say, I get to stay at home again, which is nice. Makes a big difference. In your own bed and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the perfect place to get up again. I suppose there's a bit of added pressure now. Guess winning this week and being from their expectations from people, yourself, but I feel like I'm able to deal with that pretty well compared to maybe years ago. So yeah, I'm buzzing for that event, to be honest, as well.
Yeah, in terms, like you said, your game is better than it was when before you were an amateur before, and then you're saying how mentally strong you are. Like, are there elements that maybe are still with you from your few years as a professional that maybe gives you that bit of an edge?
I think so, yeah. Just the experiences the players have played with. Yeah, just the standard of golf, I guess, is probably the biggest thing when you turn pro. Like every event is nearly, you got to be sub 20 under par, no matter what the course is or the conditions of the field. So I probably still have that built in my head, and probably will always have that built in my head from now on because I was pro for so long. So um, I think that's invaluable experience that I might have over maybe some other players. But um, yeah, I guess from being professional and kind of practicing and seeing other players practice and playing with better players, I felt like I just got better. So yeah, I think it's definitely advantageous at times.
Yeah, so definitely motivated to try and lift a couple more trophies this year at least.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I kind of set a few goals out at the start of the year, and I've kind of achieved one at the minute. So it'd be nice to knock off the other two.
Absolutely. Well, best luck with all that, and thanks for joining me on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Right, so he seems quite happy anyway, understandably so. Like when we caught up with him before the event in our podcast last week doing the preview, like what I liked about him was he wasn't afraid to go. Like, you ask a lot of players about consequence or asked him about winning a tournament before a tournament and stuff like that. He still knew he'd 150 odd lads to beat, and he didn't want to come out, put too much pressure on himself. But even at the same time, he was quietly confident in what he was doing. He knew that he knew the course probably more than anybody else, how to navigate around there. I'd say in his own head he knew 72 hole match play or 72 hole stroke play played into his wheelhouse as well. And he wasn't afraid to address the Walker Cup monkey in the room either, which was interesting.
Yeah, and I often wonder, is it a case of, well, from his point of view, well, I've come back from the pro ranks to the amateur ranks. I'm obviously here to achieve things, so I might as well, just address them and not shy away from the questions. Yeah, like hopefully the Irish Am win opens a lot of doors. From an Irish perspective of competing on the GB&I Walker Cup team this year, if not next year, he's probably the number one candidate alongside McLean at the moment. And as I touched on earlier, it was reflected in the scoring in Seapoint. Yeah, he's he still has to kind of climb up the World Amateur Golf rankings. He has to play his way sort of through mid-am events across the continent rather than the actual proper amateur ones, if that's the one way of describing it. Hopes to get to the US for the US mid-am. So like, he's trying to break down all the doors, and whether if Cypress Point comes too soon from a Walker Cup point of view this year, he'll definitely be a main contender for the Hinge next year. And like, he acknowledged that he does have some unfinished business from, I think, around 2017 time, when he hurt his wrist and couldn't get on the team, and he looked kind of certain to make it. So there's definitely unfinished business there, and look, he's certainly on the right track, and he's been playing brilliantly since he came back to the scene.
Yeah, he'll have to do a lot of winning between now and the next 2 months are pivotal, aren't they? Just to be, and like, to get into that Walker Cup team this year, it's no, like you're saying, he's not into like the main events already through Wagger points and rankings and stuff like that, which is hard. I don't know what the Irish Am, like, strength of field overall in the Irish Am, it wasn't off the charts, like.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. Now, to be fair, like there's been previous editions. I think especially in the island in 2023, you had pretty much most of the Walker Cup, panel that were there. So that wasn't quite the case this year. It's just a set scheduling issue as well. A lot of our top amateurs are still over in the US in college. Same with some of the the Great Britain lads and international stars too. So maybe from a schedule point of view, if you move it later on in the summer when they're back, they might get to play and you might get a better strength of field. But look, you just kind of have to play with the hand that you're dealt, and you can only beat what's put in front of you as well, from Stewie's point of view.
Yeah. Other key takeaways? Any other key takeaways you had from Seapoint itself?
It was just the perfect blend. Like, we had the local interest with Stewie, but then you actually had, I suppose, a proper Louth man in the mix in Jared Dunn as well. And what he was doing on the Saturday, like, he was getting plenty of cheers going forward. It was pretty cool to see. And in the final group as well, that's sort of what you want for an amateur tournament. If you can get the local favourites sort of right in the thick of it, it always just adds a little bit of spice to it as well. And in fairness to him, he hung around for pretty much all 72 holes as well. Just some of the young players, I suppose, kind of caught my eye. Caelan Coleman on the Thursday shooting the 65, Lewis Gowdy on Friday shooting 65. Nice to see maybe 2 or 3 fellas you can maybe keep an eye on going forward, because I think one of the, it's spoken a lot now amongst like amateur golf fans that there's not many players of that age, in their teenage years, early 20s, sort of coming through. So hopefully we can start to, push forward in that regard as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's good. It's all boding well for, like, we've the East is only 3 or 4 weeks away at this stage.
Yeah, bank holiday weekend, yeah.
Will Stewie play in that, actually?
He's playing, yeah. So he's had a nice handy run of events. Sleep in his own bed, I suppose, makes a lot of difference.
Oh yeah, no, that'll be good. No, in all, it was a very successful staging of the amateur. Like, yeah, like the couple of days I was up there, I really enjoyed the golf course. I thought that was really, it was challenging. Like, Seapoint can sometimes, if the wind dies down, it can be got at. And I understand what you're saying. Like, we both thought before this tournament, yeah, there could be some big numbers ran up, but the changes they've made there around the bunkering and stuff like that as well, and stuff that they're working on, coupled with the weather and the conditioning, like, we had glorious sunshine, but like 20-mile-an-hour winds going across the golf course as well, and it changed throughout the week, which was good. Yeah, I learned a lot about Stuart Grehan, I'd say, in this tournament, more so from his Saturday, how he turned. I'd say his lowest point on that Saturday was around the middle of the round, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I followed him for those few holes, and like, how he held it together is a credit to him, because he just had a dose of the lefts going on, and he couldn't get out of his own way. When you're just frazzled, and you could feel the tournament was getting away from him in a way. He finished well that day to recover what could have been a disastrous day. Got himself into the second last group, and the rest is history. But yeah, like, even watching the stuff, Louis Hayward will go away devastated from not closing out that. Like, when you see what he did coming up to 72nd, did everything perfect and just pulled the putt slightly. Like, you're only talking a 5-6 foot putt to win. Yeah, it was a putt that I'd say 9 times out of 10 he'd hole.
Yeah, and like, I only met him for the first time this week, obviously, and such a nice fella, in fairness. And he looked imperious for, I think, 27 holes between Thursday and Friday, and the front 9 of Saturday. I think he was 4 clear making the turn. And then it all just sort of went to bits for him on the back nine. I think he made 4 bogeys in 5 holes, and he couldn't, he just couldn't hit a green. He couldn't hold a putt. I think he 3 putts in a row. And then he responded with a couple of birdies to finish. Like, he really did hold it together coming down the stretch. And he's like shooting 69 in the final round of a tournament. Like, you've done nothing wrong. I think he was bogey free as well. And like he gave himself a chance to hold the winning putt. And I suppose that's all you want at the start of the week. It was unfortunate for him, but definitely someone to keep an eye on going forward, because when he gets in a roll, like, he looks like one of the best players you've ever seen.
Yeah, no, he's really, and then nothing really bothered him, and he's picking all the right shots and stuff. So no, all bodes well. Right, we'll move on from Seapoint into we've the second major of the year. I'm finding it really hard to get juiced up for this after
I'm not
the
having
Masters.
it at all. I'm not having it.
I'm the exact same. I just I don't like. We've been so spoiled right out the gate with the Masters that this just. I'm even watching the live ad all week and watching the usual McGinley and Brandel doing their thing and all that, and I just can't, like, because it feels like it's any other PGA Tour event, but they're giving out the Wanamaker Trophy at the end of it.
Yeah, especially with it being at Quail Hollow, which by the looks of it looks drenched, and I kind of fear that it could be a Valhalla job from last year as well, where it's, lads pummeling the golf course into submission. Which, look, it's grand a few weeks of the year, but when it's a major, you kind of want them to struggle a wee bit. Now they may still do, but like, it's your textbook PGA Tour course, just with the Wanamaker
with the rough
Trophy at the
juiced
end.
up a little bit more and the greens a bit firmer. That's it.
I think one of the golfers said it like, just lacks a bit of soul and everything. It's like a Kardashian. It's all like
that was Hunter Mahan. Yeah, he got
Mahan,
bashed for those comments.
Yeah,
I read them as well.
Yeah, he's playing this week. No, I didn't think so.
No.
Sorry,
Hunter hasn't been around in a while.
No.
But no, it's, I don't know. Like, my thoughts on this one: Rory McIlroy, obviously, all eyes on Rory. He's playing with house money coming in. Feels like this week. And he's a dangerous man. Scotty Scheffler's found a bit of form, winning a couple of weeks ago, and Bryson is coming in full of beans. I don't know, like, if I was to offer you now straight away Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy versus the field, would you take the two lads or the field?
I don't know. It's so easy to say McIlroy and Scheffler. Then I nearly take the field, I think.
Yeah,
I just don't know what McIlroy is going to turn up. Like, has the win made him relaxed or too relaxed? Has he maybe lost that edge? Like, it's hard to. I know everyone's thinking about the calendar Grand Slam, but, like, considering the pressure that's been lifted off his shoulders, like, I'm sure his body is just completely relaxed, and it can be actually hard to lift yourself and refocus again when you've come off such a high. So I just like, he has been scrappy as well in his couple of starts, whereas before the Masters he looked imperious. So I just wonder, can he lift himself to get himself into that edge again? Because it's going to be almost a new feeling for him this week, coming in without that serious pressure and questions and everything that he's been through the last 11 years. That's all gone now, and he's almost starting like the second phase of his career again in many respects.
Yeah, like, he hasn't done his presser yet. His presser's this evening over there, so yeah, it's hard to know. I think his competitive juices will be as, like, he will be mad to win this tournament. Like, he is coming in. He knows he's the alpha dog walking onto that driving range this week. He knows he's done what only 6 people have done before, and he knows everybody's watching him. Everybody's expecting. Guys have reacted to Rory winning the Masters already. Like, we've already said about Scotty has got his act together. I think this could be the major that we get what we've kind of craved for the last couple of years, of maybe the top 3 or 4 play. Even though it's the most inclusive of all the majors, like, it's the worst of the majors, but it's the best field if you take the top 100 in the world, and they've given special exemptions to all the live players. So it's the most open major for getting people in. But on this golf course, the way it's set up, it just all points towards, I can't see anything more than Scotty, Rory, Bryson, Justin Thomas being up there. and challenging for this and having a ding dong. I'm really interested this week going in to see how John Rahm does.
Yeah, he's like just been completely off the boil in the majors recently. He's and he was kind of coy on Ryder Cup questions yesterday too. And so yeah, it is interesting actually, because and Kefka as well, sort of like, not been at the races this year either. Like, and you think those would be the golf course that we're playing this week that would be tailor made to his game as well. And like, he's won a couple of PGAs too, so. No, at all. Like, there's always the live question coming in too, and I think there's 16 in them this week, so there's enough of them to kind of get a good sample size on how they compare to lads still playing on the PGA Tour. And I must have killed you to mention Justin Thomas in the contender sentence there.
It does.
You could
It
see
does.
the
It
glint
does
in your
kill
eye
me.
left your face.
Looking at his stats, like he's getting his act together. Looking at his stats, he's found the form that he had like 4 or 5 years ago. He's a big danger coming into this on this golf course. And like, the thing I hate about this, of all the tests of all the majors, is for me, it's such a one-dimensional test around Quail Hollow. Like, you miss a green, it's a flop shot. That's it. Like, the ball is in the rough. The greens, despite all the rain, because the sub-air system there that they've put in the last few years, the greens are still going to be really, really firm. So it's a 60 fest all day around the green. No real creativity, for want of a better way of putting it. It's going to suit the long hitters. It's open enough. There's obviously a precedent on accuracy on it in certain funnels on a few of the holes, but it's not going to be a slog like a US Open or an Open Championship or anything like that really tests every element of your game and your creativity and your shot making. This is rip it, find it, throw. Like, the players that hit it a long way, the players that can hit the ball high for their approach shots, to hold these greens in the right areas, find the right zones. It's kind of, it's dumbed down a little bit compared to the other majors. I don't think the date suits this major either. Like, the last few have been washouts because of where they bring this tournament and the time of the year now that they bring it. I understand why they moved it back, but it's going to be a tough watch. I think this is going to be a tough watch for me. Like, I enjoyed last week that Philadelphia Cricket Club place. I enjoyed seeing a new golf course on the PGA Tour. I'm not as excited looking into Quail Hollow. Like, the Rory Scotty factor is the only thing that's keeping the juice going here for me. Like, if we get into this and what I've just said about, I can't see any sort of mid-pack players coming in challenging around this golf course against these guys, because it's like it's loaded in their favor the way it's set up, so the way that the top guys, I think they will get a top showdown, and this tournament needs that.
Yeah, well, like, the PGA has been really good since moving to the May slot, and the golf course has been to, like, the scoring has been pretty tough. And then you got to last year in Valhalla, and it was just a 64 fest, like, every single day almost. And like, I don't really like seeing that for a major. I said it already, but I'm just, it feels like it's definitely the fourth of the 4 majors again. I don't know, there is just that feel, and the weather beforehand, there's been a lot of delays in practice already. Like, it's not really, the pre-tournament hype hasn't really got going yet at all, as far as I'm concerned. Even though, like, we've 5 Irish in the field, like, we should be, pretty excited to have that. And I just, struggling to sort of get myself up for this one now, to be honest.
Yeah. No, of those players, so Tom McKibben did have a chat to a few of the Irish media on site there earlier on the week. He seems happy enough anyway. Like, what were your thoughts on his quotes and stuff? Like, his last couple of live events haven't been great, if we're being honest about things. His results, I don't know, did Korea suit him or stuff like that? Maybe not. Like, they didn't match up to his start on live, but it's a big week for Tom to go out and try and do something and get in the mix. It is a golf course that would suit him. Like, he has all the attributes that the guys that we talked about there. Like, he does hit it a long way. He's quite accurate off the tee. He hits a high ball. And he like when he gets it going on the greens, he's a really, really solid putter. So it is a type of golf course that suits his game, but be interesting to see how he settles into this after being away on live for most of the first half of the calendar year.
Yeah, so it is different compared to the other two majors he's played. Like he's coming back from live, so it'll be interesting to see how that weighs up for him. But like I agree with you. Like the golf course on paper should suit him. Form hasn't been great, but like he's only a young player. Like he's going to have those kind of peaks and dips. Seemed pretty relaxed. Seems happy enough on live, and made a lot of good points. Like practicing with the likes of Ram, Kepka, Bryson. Like a lot of people say things about live, but like McKibben's there. He is surrounded by top class players at the end of the day, so that has to stand to him in some capacity. He's been vindicated by going to live. He's won a load of money. He's played quite well for the most part as well. Big week this week in terms of getting himself towards that top 100 again. Can he break back in with a good week? Luke Donald will have his eye on this week as well. He played Hero Cup. He's still on that radar. There's definitely a couple of places still up for grabs. So opportunities are going to be limited for Tom to impress, but he didn't really shy away from knowing that this is an opportunity to, just make sure Luke knows that he's still around, I suppose.
Yeah. Shane Lowry, what were your thoughts on Shane Lowry after last weekend?
I don't know, like copy and paste what I just said previously. I mean, like he's playing some of the best golf of anybody in the world, and he just can't seem to get over the line. And like he did so much right. Usually when he's in contention, he has this spell where he's sort of not getting out of his own way, and it threatens to go away from him. But he kept pace with Straka the whole way until just the end. And look, it'd be heartbreaking because Sepp has pipped him a couple of times now in big events as well, and that must be soul destroying for him. But in many ways, like if he'd won last week, I wouldn't give him a hope in hell of winning this week because it's hard to come off that high. Unfortunately, he's coming to a golf course where he has a hate relationship, not a love-hate one. So it's, I don't know, if I wonder how he's feeling because he doesn't like the golf course at all, but he's playing so well. And you think a man who's as deadly accurate as he is from tee to green should weigh up well with this test, but it's just one of those things where everyone in golf has a golf course or two where they just come and they just don't feel it at all. So I don't know. I'm hopeful for Shane. I wouldn't be as down in the dumps as he would be over this golf course. I think his form will hopefully shine through and he can put together some sort of challenge.
Yeah, like he's very dangerous coming into this week. He, despite what he says about the golf course and he doesn't like it and he's uncomfortable around it and stuff like that, it's just never really warm to him. It's a major and he will be thereabouts. He's a lot, like he will have a serious chip in his shoulder this week. He was so pissed off going away from Philadelphia last week, and whatever about the 18th, it was like the first of the 3 putts in 18 was just horrendous. But it was 16 where he lost it, really. That bogey on 16, you just can't go those places down the stretch. And yeah, like you said, Sepp seems to have his number. He did it to him in the Honda Classic as well a few years ago when Sepp got his first win. And the weather kind of dictated a lot on that one. But Shane will be, the bit will be between his teeth this year. He won't be too far away in this golf tournament. Despite him not liking the golf course, he will. But I just think he's primed for the last 2 majors of the year. Like Oakmont, he has serious unfinished business with Oakmont from the US Open side of things, and then moving into Portrush, pretty much defending his title up there. Like I'd say he's licking his lips looking forward to this next month and a half, 2-month stretch of golf is what he has primed himself for over the last year. But like he's into the top 10 in the world as well now, which it's frightening to think the levels he has jumped over the last year, what he's done, year and a half, what he's done on the course. Because like we go back to January 2024 and like he was tapping the world's top 60 at that stage and dropping out of no major exemptions, needed to get a win, all that. Like, could have easily found himself back in the DP World Tour, and he just turned everything right around. Good to see.
Yeah, I think he's only missed the cut 3 times since like the 2023 Irish Open at the K Club. I mean, the consistency is just remarkable.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. You've Harrington in the mix and Seamus Power there this week as well.
Yeah, Harrington, he's no interest still in being that ceremonial golfer, coming back to, just grin and smile at the crowds. He's not been playing well recently though, so he's gotten Bob Rotella sort of in his ear this week. So hopefully he can turn it around somehow. Again, I don't know. I'm still never want to rule Harrington out of a major still, but maybe an Open would be his best chance. And then Seamus, I actually have a good feeling about Seamus this week that he can, put 4 solid rounds together. Like, he's only missed the cut once before at Quail Hollow in like maybe 7 starts or whatever it is. And he's been playing some decent stuff, and this is a big chance to get some big world ranking points and big, just sort of boost his career again. If he can maybe get himself into the top 20 or something, that would be a really good point to maybe try and, kickstart his year.
If I was to give you a few quid, we're going to draw a line under this because we'll come back on Monday. I'm sure we'll have loads of drama to talk about. If I was to give you €40, you have 20 to spend on 2 players. Where are you putting your money this week?
Bryson.
Yeah.
Go Bryson. And maybe go for... Do you know what? Let's go. Speak Grand Slam. It's on. It's on. Let's go.
Now that would, do you know what? If that would be one thing that would get my juices going. If Jordan Spieth does something in round 1 of this golf tournament and actually puts himself, because it is then going to be as emotional of a roller coaster, if not worse. Roller coaster, borderline car crash, borderline heart attack for 3 days that he's going to give everybody following around that golf course. It will be good. It will be good.
Yeah. And he's 40 to 1. Like, it's not to be sniffed at.
That's mad. It is mad. Like, his odds. Ludwig's 40 to 1. When I was looking at it, like, yeah,
he's 20 to 1 here. Looking at him, I was actually going to suggest him, but then I saw
I was looking
Spieth.
at that. Must have been the exchanges. It was 40 to 1 up for grabs the other day in the exchanges. It was, Ludwig. Yeah, he'll be quietly confident. I definitely have. If you were to give like the same bets, I'd have 10 each way in Ludwig, and I'd probably just stick 20 quid on McIlroy, as I always do. My blind stupidity with Rory. But yeah, now that's it for that. We'll be back next week. Do we have heroes and villains this week?
Oh, I don't even know. The week's been such a blur for me. I completely forgot.
Right, we'll park heroes and villains till after the tournament anyway. But yeah, if you are looking for a bit of golf to look at during the day this week, we did have a quick preview short pod yesterday with Gary Murphy ahead of the OFX Legends in Mount Juliet. So the Pro-Am is on up there today, and tournament gets started then from tomorrow, Thursday, through to Saturday, a 3-day tournament. So we have a few Irish players in the field. We've David Higgins, Gary Murphy and Peter Lowry playing in that. So a bit of home interest there. There's some really good golf on show, and the weather's meant to be spectacular. So if you do want to go down and attend a bit of golf and look at some top class golf, OFX Legends down in Mount Juliet, plenty of tickets available. Just log on to the website. I'm sure you can buy them at the gate as well when you go down there. So plenty of parking, plenty of stuff to do, and it's all set up to be a really, really good event.
Yeah, I was talking to Niall Quinn last night. Actually, he was grinding away, ready for the Pro-Am.
Where'd you meet him?
In the K Club.
Oh, you were up getting lessons, were you?
Yeah.
Up with Conor O'Rourke again.
He was there belting away on the range.
Yeah, sure. He plays every day of the week. He's an ex-captain there, like.
Yeah, great night for him with Sunderland.
Yeah, it was unreal. I was watching that. Yeah, your Sky Blues, your 4th team. So you're Liverpool,
team, yeah.
Meath, Salford, Coventry. You cover all bases. You do.
Yeah, bad year in the EFL for me.
You'll be going around now with a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey for the next 6 months now, getting ready for September.
Oh God, no! When that comes, I might just leave the country. I'll go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think we'll draw a line under for that for this week. We'll be back on Monday with a full review of the second major of the year. Hopefully we get drama, and then we'll have a quick look back as well at the OFX Legends in Mount Juliet. So from me, Peter, and from Ronan, cheers for tuning in, and we will chat to you again next week. Bye.